Today, we're diving into a really profound spiritual concept, and it all comes down to a single Korean word, a word so deep, so full of meaning, that there's really no perfect way to say it in English.
So just start with this question. What if the most basic truth of the universe wasn't some scientific law or a complex equation, but a feeling? A feeling so rich and layered that our own language just can't quite grasp it.
And that's exactly where this word, Shimjung, comes in. It's right at the heart of Reverend Sun Myung Moon's prayers and his teachings. And really, trying to understand it gives us this incredible window into a very unique spiritual worldview.
Okay, so what is Shimjung? I mean, it's famous for being tough to translate, but we can definitely start to get a handle on its incredible depth if we just break it down a little.
So literally speaking, it's made of two parts. You've got Shim, which means heart, and Jung, which means feeling. So you put them together and you get heart feeling. But trust me, it goes so much deeper than just that.
Now, the closest thing we probably have in English is the idea of true love. And in fact, that's a term Reverend Moon often uses when he's trying to explain it. But there is a subtle and honestly an absolutely critical difference that makes Shimjung totally unique.
And here it is. This is the key. Our typical idea of love is usually based on my situation, how I feel, what I'm going through. Shimjung flips that completely. It's a heart that feels based on the situation of the other person. It's about your feelings being rooted in their reality, not just your own. It's about living for them.
And what's really amazing is that Shimjung isn't just some passive, warm and fuzzy emotion. No, it's an active, powerful force. It includes joy and sorrow and longing for sure, but it also lights a fire in you, a determination to carry someone else's burdens, a drive to actually go out and bring them happiness. You could almost say it's the ultimate test of how much we're capable of loving.
So why is this specific kind of heart, this heart that lives for others, so important? Why is it considered so fundamental? Well, to get that, we have to look at what's described as the original intended relationship for all of us.
The core teaching here is that the most profound truth in the whole universe is the relationship between a father and a son. That bond, which is supposed to be rooted in Shimjung, was meant to be the very foundation of all human history. But that ideal was never actually reached. The story goes that humanity fell away, and in doing so, broke that original connection with God. That severing of the bond is seen as the origin of all the problems in the world.
And because that original relationship of Shimjung was broken, the main emotion that's now associated with God's heart, especially in what's seen as our current time of darkness, is a deep, profound sorrow. It kind of makes sense when you think about it. If Shimjung means feeling based on the other person's situation, and humanity is separated from God and suffering, well, then the feeling in God's heart would have to be sorrow, right?
And this really gets to the emotional core of it all. There's a quote that just stops you in your tracks. There is no sorrow greater than the sorrow coming through the Shimjung of love. That's such a powerful thought, that the deepest pain you can possibly imagine comes from a love that's unfulfilled, from a relationship that's been broken.
So, faced with this idea of a broken world and a sorrowful God, what's the response? Well, for Reverend Moon, it wasn't something to just think about. It was a call to action. It became a singular, lifelong mission.
And this is the really crucial point. Restoring this bond, this relationship of Shimjung between God and humanity, wasn't just some philosophical idea. It became the one, single, consistent driving force behind everything he did throughout his entire life.
And you can see this thread woven through the decades. From the absolute beginning, in the early days of his church in Seoul, the central theme was always this deep longing to restore Shimjung. It was the same motivation that led him to make pronouncements that seemed crazy at the time, like predicting the fall of communism. And that laser focus has stayed the same all the way into recent years.
So if we boil it all down, it's this. Shimjung is way more than just a word for love. It's a guiding principle. It is the very heart of what it means to live for others, and it's presented as the absolute key to restoring our most important and fundamental relationship.
And so, that leaves us with one last, really powerful question to think about. If Shimjung is a heart that lives for the sake of other people, what could a world that was actually guided by that heart really truly look like?